So yeah, okay, good. This sounds good. Okay, yeah, Martin uh, gave me a really good mic. I haven't set it up, but I put a better video video attachment up here. So it's still a little bit grainy, but that's probably the lighting. I'll have to improve on that. So good picture on your side. Good. My hair's all messed up. Who cares, right? This isn't a modeling show. So I'm gonna wait a minute or two for some more people to come on. Um, yeah, I think it's an important subject because, I mean, from experience, I'm going to talk about it because I see that's really why a lot of people don't see certain things. I think it's better with that other light on it. Oh, that's a little better, I think. Okay, so, um, okay, I guess I'll just start. Let's see, it's already 2 minutes after six. I can't really tell. It says nobody's here actually, but I see um, Spock. You're here, right? Uh, and I don't know who else. So I'm gonna probably just start. Um, okay, so really, I thought of the subject because um, I get a lot of flack about being anti-Trump, and people think I hate Trump just because I'm persistently stand against him and because he's not backing up the truth about the millions of people dying and being injured by the product that's been put in them. So yes, I'm persistent about that, but when it's brought up, so I'm the opposing view. So I was like, all these, like, a bunch of people, like from the foundation, they think I'm like, something that I'm not. And then I see, like, it's so clear, it's so clear to me that you don't back somebody who's they're literally betraying you on it. So I realized that the problem is, and I did this for many years. I mean, I don't know about many years, but I did this for years. I actually, I would do the meditation, and for those seeing the video afterwards, that's the Be Still meditation. That's like a silent prayer. It's real simple. It helps to get you separate from all the confusion in the mind. All the intellect, the talking to yourself, it seems like you're talking to yourself, but it's really another spirit. It tells you what to say and all this. So the more we separate from that, the more happy and childlike we become. We can actually be at peace. So what I used to do was I would, when I'd sit down, just to be still, watch my thoughts, you know, and my hands would get warm. Um, I would, when I'd start to get thoughts and imaginations, I would push it down. So I used a kind of a will, like I would shove them down. And that's what Roy Masters, who discovered the meditation, well, rediscovered it. It's not, it's ancient actually. He advised, don't use any effort. So Martin was saying, well, what about when you go finger to finger? Yeah, there's a little bit of effort there, but what Roy is talking about is when you see yourself, when you let the Holy Spirit, the good spirit, remind you that you're off into a fantasy. Then you go back to your hands. And that happens like over and over and over. And then sometimes you can be aware and you're going from finger to finger, or maybe you're not, you're just being aware of your hands. And then at the same time, you can have like a conversation going on in your head. It's telling you what to say, or and at the same time, you can be aware of your hands. So that can happen too. So that you're actually not in it, but it's going on. But then a lot of times it'll come and then take you away totally. And then you don't, You don't even notice it till you're taken away. But then it's the spirit remind you, then you go back to your hands. So it's real natural. Um, and that's the process of salvation. But what happens is if you try to preempt that with your own power and your own will, then you're like using effort so that those thoughts won't come up, or they start to come up, you can kind of push them down. There's a way to do that, but then the meditation turns into a kind of hypnosis. And I believe, I know from firsthand experience, I did that for years. So what happened was I had a certain amount of calm, but not much, because if something got real stressed, I could overreact. And then I didn't really grow. I didn't really advance because I was using my will, trying to, without knowing it, trying to save myself. I was still meditating. I never, gave up on that, but I was doing it wrong. I was using an effort to, so that I wouldn't see, let the spirit pull me back, pull me back, pull me back, which is real natural. So I believe that's what a lot of people are doing now. Like I don't know about a lot, but some people I see that they think they are really all that, and they have it, and they don't see like a basic thing, like a betrayal by our former president. That's major. It's huge. It's not like another issue. It's people's lives. It's children that are being murdered by deception. So that's like rationalized because they're not either not being still at all, or they're doing it, and I believe in this way, they're using a will, and they're pushing down thoughts, and they're trying, in that way they don't realize they're actually trying to save themselves, but they're not getting anywhere because their perception is very, they're not very sharp on right and wrong. Like, and Trump, it's a great example. It's just not there. It's not there. So they look at me as like nuts, or not nuts, but like a pit bull, or a crazy, I won't give up. But I don't just go blather, bother people about that. I just am. If it comes up, I mean, I'm no, no, that's not right, and I'm persistent about that because it's super important, and that's my right, But some people have taken such offense that they've totally censored me, blocked me. Um, they don't want to be reminded of what they've forgotten. That sharp perception, the light is dim. If you're meditating right or praying right, really getting objective from the craziness, in your mind, um, the light gets brighter. The perception of right and wrong gets naturally turned brighter. And when you stand up for it, when you stand up for God, um, then it gets even brighter. And then no one can shake that from you. No one can make you doubt because God's giving you the perception. There's nothing more important than that. There's no bully. There's no personality. There's no name. There's no anything that can shake you with that. I mean, it's not possible. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not possible because as long as we stay calm, if we start to get pulled into that intellect realm, and then we can start to like react, then we'll start to doubt. But another thing about the doubt is if you don't stand up for right, you stand up for God. Prayer is not really about talking to God, but I know that you can talk to God. I mean, I do a little bit, not much, but prayer is to get you centered so that you can stand up for God and live the right life, because there's not enough people standing up for God, for good. You know, He needs that from us. He expects that from us. I mean, that's our duty. That's what we're here for. A lot of it. It's not just to live a life of pleasure. I had a dream that not that long ago, that Roy Masters came to my dream, and he said, or I mean, he was kind of younger, in the dream, and I said, I want to find that where Jesus said, I have food that ye know nothing of. I want to find that, you know, I want to like not get so into my food. I want to find what Jesus is talking about. And Roy said, excellent in the dream. And, and there's just something more spirit pleasurable than all the physical pleasure. But we can't realize that really unless we are willing to let go gradually of that physical, pleasure. I mean, we still have to eat. You can enjoy it, but you don't have to like, get into it. Like it's not a big deal. And same thing with sex. If we're married, of course, um, it's just not. People make too big a deal of it because they're using it for escape. So, yeah, I started. There's a couple more people here now, and I started at if you guys missed, I start about two after, but I'm gonna say this, the video will save. So, but I'm not gonna go on and on too much. But that's mainly what I wanted to talk about was the misuse of the be still meditation. That's rediscovered by Roy. It's very powerful thing. It's strong. I mean, it's a really strong, very, there's nothing quite like it yet. It's so simple, but if we try to do it with effort, it's like I said, it's like you're trying to save yourself. We don't realize that when we're doing it, but that's what it is. So you just sit and do it, and then when your mind starts to wander off, the spirit you'll notice it, and you go back to your hands, and it's that constant process. And then what I've seen is that I'm doing that all day long. So like if I start to drift off, or if I start to get like chatter in my head, like what I'm going to say or speak a truth in my head, it might happen real briefly, and then I notice it, and then I'm back to my center. It's like all I don't even like listen to radio anymore because I enjoy like watching my mind and coming back like all day long. But it's not, it's just a natural thing. It's like it's that praying all the time, but it's praying without words. It's being attentive to the silent thoughts. I heard this Ukrainian spokesman say that's where it's at. Like, and if during the day, if you're I used to do this. I used to have like real brief, maybe a sentence, like words in my head, like I'm saying a truth to somebody. If you're going along with that and not catching it, then it's harder to sit still and meditate and really pray, because what you're doing is you're not catching yourself going along with conversation in your head, or words in your head, or even talking to yourself. And then it's harder to separate from it when you sit and do it. So you need to do it like all the time, not just sit, do it, and then during the day, then you start to go talk to yourself and all that, because that's the same energy, that's the same source, the same darkness that it'll turn on a dime and give you hateful words in your head, uh, mean words, anti-God words. It's the same thing. It's all in silent thoughts. All the words in our head are confusion, even if they're good, um, because it's the same source. When you see reality, it's like a light bulb. It's like an idea. Now it can get converted to words in your head, yeah, but that's not what you want to do. I'm not saying you can stop it, but if it happens and you just see it, let it go. And so what happens is, I notice with me, is I'll like go through the day, and it's like I don't know anything. Like I'm like stupid, because I'm not going along with memory or the thoughts, the words in my head. So there's more of a blank there. But the funny thing is, I have a calm, so that in that space that seems like I know nothing, I have the calm. Like I can't be rattled. Thank God. I mean, I'm not, I'm not taking pride in it or anything. It's a gift. So then also when the moment comes, like now, like to share, it just comes out. There's no pre-thought. So all that pre-thought, that thinking what you're going to say, that's all the darkness. But we don't want to struggle with it or fight with it. Just when you see it happening, then, oh, okay, I did that. And then, you do it, you go along with it less and less and less. So then eventually it just gets so diminished. So yeah, if anybody wants to call in at 626-217-3749, and it's been almost 20 minutes. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. But if anybody has any question, oh, let me read some stuff here. Excessive radio, television, entertainment broadcasts, I find interfere with that connection to the one present here and now reality. That's from Dr. Spock. Yes, it does. Absolutely. I stopped listening to talk radio, when COVID hit, because I saw all the stations, even the conservative ones, got taken over by this great lie. So wow. And then I realized I don't want it. Like I don't even hardly listen to music at all. I don't even turn on my radio anymore. But I don't want. It's like it's good. It's good. I'm just watching my mind like all day long. But I'm taking care of my business and everything. I always leave the radio off when driving. Most people don't understand this practice and wonder how someone can drive without constant distraction. Sad statement on society. Yeah, excuse me. Right. That's, well, people aren't, you have to be, because if you're not distracted, you're really in prayer. People have a misunderstanding in general what prayer is. Um, like the best kind of prayer is just being in the moment, in the presence, like Roy used to say. It's just being, present. And that's where invention ideas come, when you're not lost in thoughts. God just gives you an idea like, oh, wow. A lot of people get that, but often they don't act on it. I actually did, but I screwed it all up and had to learn a lot of stuff. And it needs one more refinement. That's common in inventions. But I'm really retarded, in many aspects, because I was so gullible. I was trying to get investors, and I believed, a couple of people that I shouldn't have. But um, so, anyways, um, oh, I want to show you guys. Let me see if you can see this. This is taken from the Shroud of Turin, which is been proven to be the actual burial shroud. And when Jesus transfigured, came back, the spirit came out of the body. It was like a light, and it flashed an image, a negative image, onto the cloth. So this picture is taken from that. Let's see if you guys can see it. That's what he would look like, pretty close. And that's the burial cloth. Handsome man. So, anyways, I'm not going to just ramble. So that's what I wanted to say, and that's about it. So no callers, huh? Let's see. It's 6:20. Okay, so that was about 20 minutes. Even good radio and good audio visual productions have a certain useful limit. Most of us have been trained. This is from Dr. Spock again. Wait, is Spock a doctor? It's from, you know who I'm talking about. um, Even good radio and good audio productions have a certain useful limit. Most have been trained certain flood our consciousness with audio visual entertainment. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just I found that some of the most, I guess I could say, hypocritical and confusing people, or they try to confuse you because they think they're so on it, are people who are doing this meditation, but they're doing it wrong, and they're missing some real basic common sense, like I had mentioned earlier. And it can be really dangerous, actually. But I hope they wake up and see that they have misjudged me, and doesn't hurt me, but anyway, I think that's it. It's been 21 minutes. I think it's pretty good. And unless anybody has any questions or comments or wants to call, I'm probably going to wrap it up and do. Okay, we got a call. Hello.
All right. We have a call.
All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
I better turn down the speaker or we're going to both get confused with the echo.
Yeah, good idea.
There we go. Now it's coherent.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a time delay. That's probably related to the distance between Earth and Jupiter.
Right. So, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. A few aches and pains in my body, which are related to the type of work I do. What I need to do is probably some exercises to counterbalance the asymmetries in my frame. I'm pushing on the gas pedal all day long with the right foot, right hip, right side of the body, and the left side isn't getting exercise. So
Are you driving for a living?
Yeah, well, I'm driving the trucks down on the docks over there in the Los Angeles harbor.
Cool.
But I'm hauling cargo containers around all day long.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're making a lot of money doing that, I know. So what on the subject, do you have something to add, or did you have a question?
Yes, I think so. Martin made a very excellent point a couple of days ago. He was saying that the issue of will versus no will, the meditation, how Roy would say there's no effort required.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use effort, and there's a sort of an important issue regarding the effort and the will where it comes to the meditation. And I think the idea, and he pointed out that if you move your consciousness from one finger to the next, and maybe perhaps before we discuss this, we should probably explain to other people listening what we're talking about. Part of the meditation, one of the devices in the meditation to help people stay rooted in the present moment,
mm-hmm.
is to focus on part of their body.
Right.
And such as like the hand.
Uh-huh. And particularly the right hand, actually. Yep.
In particular, the right hand. Mm-hmm. And I believe that Roy taught us to use the right hand because mostly it represents the connection of the will. It's like we have the mind, but then we also have action. And the right hand represents action.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
The carrying out of prerogative. In other words, it's with our hand we commit acts for good or for evil.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so the thing, the going to finger is, I found, very effective way to help you stay not drifted off, right? But I don't put like a lot of effort doing it. I just it's very gentle, you know what I mean?
I think it's important not to put a lot of effort, and I remember in one of the tapes, Roy, or it was one of it may have not been on tape, it may have been during one of the meetings, Roy said that if you have difficulty shifting your attention from finger to finger, just focus on the hand. He says if you find it difficult to focus on one hand, then just focus on both hands.
Yeah.
In other words, if you encounter difficulty, fall back on what you're able to do that doesn't involve a whole bunch of force or will.
Right. And he also said, like, even if you're like 1 second or 1/10 of 1 second in the moment, aware of your hand and the center of your forehead, the lights through because there's a light in your body. So when you close your eyelids, you can see a little bit of fuzz. That's the light in your body. So the even being aware of that even a little bit, that will help you get closer to God, and then over time it gets increase. So just practicing it,
Yeah, well, this is an important point because your mind will tell you that since you didn't maintain perfect, total 1000% objectivity through
hmm
every second of your meditation, therefore it's not working. But the reality is that if you can become slightly more objective than you usually are,
hmm
it is working.
Right. It's a process. Yeah. And the main, I believe the main thing Roy really meant with effort is that you don't want to push your thoughts down, because like I was saying at the beginning of the video, I did that for a couple of years at least, and it was effective. I could actually have a blank, meditation, but I was using my own will, and my life wasn't changing. You know.
This is where the difference is between this meditation and some of the yogatic meditations. And
Yeah.
I believe some of the yoga meditations, I believe originally they were pretty close to what Roy was teaching. That some of the exercises are to block out
Right.
sensation and to focus effort on a single point. And
Yeah. Yeah.
there can be some benefits to this, especially if someone is troubled by thoughts and they don't know how to deal with it. But what Roy teaches is to instead to not surrender to the thoughts and not to fight the thoughts, but rather to sort of pull to the side and observe the thoughts and sort of let them roll and let them run out of energy.
Right, right. But it's amazing. I don't know, like I'm sure you've seen, like when you meditate, the power they have. Like it's it's stunning. They are so, sitting still must be so important that it needs to keep you away from the moment. It is like, wow, it will take anything to get you out of that moment. But that's fine. Then you just come back and back and back, and eventually it won't have that power. I know, I believe that.
Yeah, the real power is what they say in the center of the cyclone, in the area of stillness, right in the middle of the tornado, so to speak.
Right.
And
Because yeah.
Yeah, we have what would I say, behind every error, there's behind every, what could you say, sin, or every bad episode in life or wrong approach towards things, there's an intellectual error, and then beyond that there's a spiritual error.
Right.
And
yeah.
the intellectual error, if you get objective enough, you'll understand your mind is actually talking to you, even though most people don't really hear it. They're too immersed, they're too merged with it to where they can make a distinction. And this is one area where schizophrenics actually have an advantage over the average person. The average person responds to nonverbal, they're actually verbal commands, but they don't perceive them as verbal commands because they're not aware of the verbiage in their head. The schizophrenic is able to differentiate but doesn't know how to deal with it.
Well, yeah, but the more aware you are, the more you see. Even like when you're talking to yourself, it's not really you talking to yourself. It's not. It's another force. So I know what you're saying, but also like the evil will, okay, it'll give you an idea. Like say I walk in the house and it gives me this idea to go, eat when I'm not hungry. Okay, so like it's that, in that case, it's not even words in my head. It's just an idea, but it's almost like a bright, good idea, but it's not good, you know. So it's both words in the head, but it's also, but in our soul we can see, because I know I want to lose weight. I don't want to be a glutton, so I just let that go. It's it gets more and more simple.
Yeah, I'll have to send you my information on intermittent fasting. It's basically the same protocols you'd follow if you want to reverse type 2 diabetes. We've been trained to eat wrong.
Right. And the darkness gives us those ideas, because every action that's not good is preceded, like you mentioned, either like a thought, like usually it's a thought, or it could be an idea. It's always preceded by that. It has to be. If you're really watching yourself, you'll catch it and then say, oh, you don't even say anything to yourself, but if you see it, then you don't have to obey it. But when you don't, you just don't. But sometimes you will. Then you realize, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? So
yeah. The thing is that uh, there's like commands that are being issued or instructions. It's like when people are going in the wrong direction, they're receiving instructions. They aren't aware they're receiving instructions. They oftentimes think these are their own thoughts, or they just don't even consider that realm of where these things are originating from. They may not recognize it's their thoughts. They don't understand. They're just acting out in response to these commands.
Right.
As someone under hypnosis, if someone were, let's say, behind the stage,
and
give commands to someone who's hypnotized, that person would simply act them out.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's we're all either going deeper into hypnosis, sin, or coming out of it. Yeah. But well, I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, I am doing now where almost every day I don't eat until lunch. So I'll eat early dinner and not like huge, and then I won't eat until like 11 or noon the next day. So I am seeing the weight drop now.
Yeah. Don't worry about the weight. We're supposed to have some fat reserves. The idea is to deplete the glycogen in the liver, and then deplete the fat reserves in the liver, and then deplete the fat reserves in the pancreas, and then insulin levels all become normalized at that point. Eating about 1 or 2 meals a day in a restricted window is good practice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you could restrict it to a 4-hour window, a 6-hour window, even an 8-hour window, and then the rest of the time just fast.
Yeah.
And give yourself water, but no glycemic loads, no meals.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, like a couple weeks ago, I fasted all day. I just had liquids, and that again, it's all a mind thing. Like if I didn't go along with any thoughts of a meal, to eat, I was fine. It wasn't hard. Because thank God I'm disciplined enough through my meditation that I could just dismiss the whole idea, and I stayed focused, and it was not hard. It was not hard.
What will help also is to try to maximize your fats and minimize your carbohydrates.
Right. Yeah, I'm doing that too. Yeah.
Concentrated carbohydrates. You want to get rid of grains over a period of time and replace them with legumes. The carbohydrate structure in legumes, lentils, peas, and beans is different than in grains. They don't transform to sugar as rapidly, and there's more fiber, protein, and fat in the legumes. And then if you eat the carbohydrates at the end of the meal, let's say the earlier portions of the meal are like your roughage, your salads, and your vegetables, and then your proteins and your fats, and then you eat the carbohydrate at the end of the meal, it slows down the assimilation process into sugar, and it flattens the spike so that you get a plateau instead of a spike.
Okay, cool.
And that what happens is the cravings, there's 2 forms of cravings. There's the physiological cravings, and then there's the mental cravings. The mental cravings are a lot weaker than when they don't have physiological cravings buttressing them.
Oh yeah, it seems like it's all in the mind. Like Roy used to say, salvation is a mind thing. It's in the mind, and that's where so much of Christianity has really dropped the ball. They haven't made it spiritual like Roy did, and that's too bad. But I think it took another Jew to bring to life what Jesus, did.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It took another Jew. Well, it took a Jew to begin with, and then took another Jew to drive it home later. A couple thousand years later.
Yeah.
The Gentiles still didn't get it. Um, yeah, the thing is, too many of the churches are into hallelujah music.
Oh, I know.
And that serves a certain purpose, but it's all conditioning. It's all conditioning. It's on a much lower level, and there is a need for the rituals. There is a need for the hallelujah music, but there's a need for more than just that.
A lot more. Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to see a church once in a while. I think the Catholics a little better, where they're not doing all the music. Like even I walked by a church the other day and it was a small church, in like a strip mall, and they had their whole band set up there. And it's like, the thing is they're thinking that this riled up emotion from the religious song is worship. It's, but that's not it. It's not, I mean, just when I thank God for this apartment I got and just being appreciative, that's worshiping God.
I'd say, yeah, it's the worship of God is more of something that occurs in the moment, and when people are losing themselves in music, they're escaping.
And, yeah, and just because huh?
I mean, they might as well be honest about it. Why not lose themselves in rum and perverse sex? Because if you're going to lose yourself, I'm not saying that singing church music is entirely bad per se. I mean, it's good for the kids to sing songs about Jesus, but these people get into this hallelujah phantasmagoria where they're practically drunk off the music. And
yeah, I know. It's not. It's kind of messed up. Well, I guess it's been 37 minutes now. It's been nice talking to you, and I guess I'll end it pretty soon here. But thank you for calling.
Okay, well, thank you for putting out this little, I guess you would call it a broadcast or a live stream.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, take care.
Okay, see you, Fabian.
Bye. That was Dr. Spock from Star Trek, and no, not really, but he looks like him. By the way, I met, I used to do courier work, special delivery, independent contractor for too long, but I worked for the movie industry too. And I went to a lot of stars doors, and one of them was in Bel Air, and it was Leonard Nimoy, Dr. Spock. He came up to the door, and he was very friendly and nice, and he signed for his package. And a whole bunch of them I've met, but it's just, you're just doing your job. You're not, hey, can I have your autograph? No, that's not, wasn't part of my job. So, hey, how are you and Martin doing? It's been a while. I'm doing great. I just have a new little studio apartment in Medford. Martin went down south to hopefully heal, dealing with cancer. Yeah, but we'll have to do one with Martin soon. And I guess that's it. It's been 39 minutes. I don't want to go on too long. I only like to really do this if I have, when I have something to say. And I did. So I did this. And thank you for joining. And I'll go ahead and edit it, and people can watch it afterwards. And God bless you all. And please, if you haven't tried it, I'll put a link to it in the description. The Be Still exercise taught by Roy Masters. It's on YouTube, and it's called the 7-minute meditation, but by Roy Masters, because there's a bunch of copycats, and maybe some that are not copycats, but they're just Roy really has it simple perfection of really what Jesus talked about. Don't think about what you're going to say to the magistrate, but I mean, that means that's everything. Don't think about what you're going to eat or what you're going to clothe. He's talking about being in the moment, but Roy really, and you would come to that eventually. I believe that, over, it usually takes your whole life to discover that, to return like a child. But Roy, I believe we're in the last days. We're already in Revelation. So Jesus and God sent Roy to make it quicker and very efficient to do that. So it wouldn't take your whole life, necessarily. That's my belief, and so it works really, really, really good. And please go check it out if you haven't yet. Um, yes, we'll keep Martin in our prayers, indeed. Excuse me. Okay, God bless you all. Bye bye.